Township man was in court for the first time today. 22-year-old Peter Sand accused of sending death threats to local leaders in at least 3 counties across the UP. He's charged with 3 crimes that could carry decades in prison if he's convicted. We're told the attorney representing Sand commented on his mental health and diagnosis of autism, spurring conversations about responsibility, justice, and the state of mental health care statewide among local leaders who were the targets of death threats. Local 3 Skylar Perkins has the story.
Free speech rights have limits, and you can't threaten to kill people, especially public officials.
That's the main message from Menominee prosecutor Jeff Rogg after Peter Sand's arraignment on charges related to death threats left on Rogg's voicemail. While innocent until proven guilty, we're told Sand has already confessed to police.
There's an extensive statement that he made to the police, and he described his dissatisfaction with government, his desire to make them pay, quote unquote, to get them to make different decisions.
While Sand's attorney made reference to his diagnosis of autism, Rogg said the level of planning and efforts to conceal his identity goes beyond that defense and deserves an amount of culpability.
I'll remind you that Ethan Crumbly, who was recently convicted and sentenced to life in prison for killing 4 students in Oxford, Michigan, in the school there 2 years ago, also had special needs and an IEP, so that is no excuse in my view.
We also spoke with Delta County Commission Chair David Moyle, who is one of 3 commissioners who received a threat earlier this year.
The autism spectrum is a massive spectrum. I mean, I'm a special educator. I know it quite well. I'm sure mental health did have some degree, but he was smart enough to try to cover his tracks.
Moyle told us how they received the threat.
Well, we got the threat on March the 8th, about a month ago. It was on a Friday, and the 3 of us commissioners received the threat via the email portal from the county that simply said, resign now or die next week. I was relieved because I can tell my 10-year-old daughter now that this has been put away. And it was very difficult with her, feeling the stress from something she really doesn't understand. And so, Peterson was relieved. I talked to Barron today and Peterson.
Moyle and the other 2 commissioners are also running in a contentious recall election, which has become a hot topic in local Facebook groups. Moyle says he thinks the culture there could be partly responsible for what happened.
There's so much back and forth online that somebody with a diminished mental capacity or somebody with a mental illness could be spurred by that.
The charges against Sand could carry a 20-year max sentence, but Moyle says depending on the details, a lighter sentence might be more appropriate.
I don't want to see, it was some Lulu getting on a keyboard and having some fun. Yeah, he needs to get his hands slapped. But if the kid's a danger, then he needs to be dealt with and given the mental health services he needs.
And mental health care is something Rogg and Moyle agree is desperately lacking in the criminal justice system.
I've seen myself actually a lot of increase in mental health issues in the criminal justice system over the years, and it's kind of it's very unfortunate for people who legitimately have mental health issues. They don't belong in the county jail, wasting away, basically not being treated. It'd be like putting somebody in there with a broken leg and saying, just sit here indefinitely.
And I'm not a liberal. I'm a highly conservative guy, but I have passion for people. We are cutting back pathways funding, eviscerating it, and we're cutting back on social workers in school, but we're paying $50,000 a year to feed, clothe, house, and mommy coddle inmates.
The problem is that unfortunately our government hasn't put sufficient resources into mental health treatment in order to accommodate the closure of maybe 30 years ago, all the state mental health hospitals in the state of Michigan. And basically, they sort of turned the county jails into, de facto mental health institutions. And it's not right.
That said, Moyle told us while it alone is a tough problem to fix, improving mental health services is only a part of the answer.
Still, people have to be accountable for what they've done unless he's clinically mentally insane. And, that's not for me to say.
Skylar Perkins, Local 3.